Okay, guys, so this is going to be a two-part practice test. Someone came to the door and interrupted me, so I didn't want the video to drag along while I talked to him, so I just stopped it and we made a part two. So we're going to do number 14 right now, and we're going to start it off like this. The first step you're going to do is think about what does trigonometry do. Okay, this is a trigonometry test, guys. So to use trigonometry, the way that we use it with not the inverse functions, the regular trig functions, we can find everything out about a triangle as long as we have an angle, a side length, and it's a right triangle. Okay, so if it's a right triangle and we have one of the angles, we still need a side length to be able to solve everything else in there. Okay, so we should start in the triangle that has a side length. Otherwise, we can't really do trigonometry. I hope you get that. So we're going to call this side over here the opposite, right? And we're going to call this side across in the right angle the hypotenuse. All right. And we're going to call this side the adjacent. All right. So now we know that we want to find the length of a side, or we can find the length of any side we need in this triangle using trigonometry. But which one do we want to find? That's the question. Do we want to find this one or the one in the middle? Now, if you said the one in the middle, you're right, because otherwise we're not going to be able to find x. And x is the real problem here. We want to find x all the way at the end of this. So we're going to need one of the sides in this triangle. Otherwise, we can't do it, right? So let's label this with a y to make sure we have a different variable. And we're going to have to solve this side first, and then we can get this side. So step one is going to be to go ahead and figure out which ratio we're using. So we're going to write SOHCAHTOA. Okay, and tell me, if we got 58 across from here, that's your opposite and your adjacent. Which ratio has the opposite and adjacent? Opposite, adjacent. It's TOA, right? And that means it's tangent. The tangent ratio of 58 degrees is going to give us the opposite, that's y over 17, the adjacent. Let me fix that y. So we got y over 17. So what I'm going to do is find tangent of 58. Go to my calculator and hit tangent of 58 degrees, and we hit equals, and we get 1.600. Okay? And so now we get this equals y over 17, right? So I got to multiply both sides by 17. And it's not that long of a problem. We're going to find out really quick that y is just equal to what you get when you multiply those numbers. So multiply that times 17, and we get 27.2, okay? 0.20 about. So what I would recommend in doing these problems is you actually go back, and since we found out what y is, we don't want to clutter our picture too much. So erase the y and write the new answer there. Y is really 27.2, okay? So now we're going to look at the, let me go ahead and write that on the other side because we're going to get in the way anyway. So here we go. We got 27, okay, I'm going to do it in red, guys. Hang in there. So we got 27.2, okay? So now you go across from here and we call that the opposite, okay? So now label the triangle. So label your triangle across from 42. We'll call this the opposite, right? And we're going to call this over here the hypotenuse. So this side must be the adjacent, okay? So now we're going to erase all the other work we did, except for the SOHCAHTOA, because we're going to need to think about that. So which ratio do you think we should use right now if we're going to find x? Okay, if we're going to find x, we have to use x, and we're going to have to use the other side that we have. So we're going to need opposite and adjacent. Well, looks like tangent again to me, right? Oh, TOA. So we got tangent of 42 equals, and sometimes my 4's come out looking like an 8 on here. So we got 42, and this equals, what do you got? X is the opposite, so we have x over 27.2. So now, give yourself a blank parentheses before you do the calculation, so that way you don't lose track of what you're doing. Hit tangent 42 and hit equals, and we get 0.9004. All right. And so now I have to multiply both sides times 27.2. And then that's going to make sure that I get these cancel out. But if I multiply both sides times 27.2, I'm going to find out what x is. So this times 27.2 equals 24.49. And so when this tells you to round to the nearest tenth, we're going to go ahead and say x is about 24.5, right? Because 49 is about 50 cents. And so if this place is bigger than a 5, you make that one go up, right? So there we go, 24.5. So those are one of the harder problems on your test. You're definitely going to have one of those, at least one. So if you don't get it, maybe try to do this problem over again by yourself without looking at it, see if you get the right answer. And then try to do the one on your practice test and make sure that you get the answer on your answer sheet before you give up on those, okay? So on these problems, you guys are going to be happy because I kind of decided not to put them on the test, okay? So actually, don't even study these problems right here, okay? These are not on the test. We're going to talk about those a little later in the year when we learn about area. So we'll bring this up again right now, but I really want you guys to focus on just trigonometry and not necessarily on area and polygons right now. So go ahead, forget all about 15. I put it on there because it was kind of trigonometry, but let's forget about it, okay? Good luck studying, you guys. And please come prepared tomorrow with notes and everything you need. All right, see you tomorrow. Hello? Hey, what's up? Where you at? You here? Have you been calling me? Fuck, my phone's been on silent because I've been ACME demic. I went into the meeting and I turned it off. Sorry. I've been on the... Oh, shit.